Welcome to Sourced and Delivered, the TalentNet podcast, where we go beyond the buzz and into the real-world strategies powering direct sourcing and total talent success. Straight talk. Real wins. No fluff. In today's episode, Global Talent, Local Trust, Capgemini's direct sourcing expansion. We're exploring how one of the world's top consulting and technology firms built a global, compliant, and scalable direct sourcing program. Faced with the challenge of managing an increasingly international contingent workforce, Capgemini partnered with TalentNet to create trusted talent communities across multiple countries, all while navigating complex data privacy laws, streamlining re-engagement, and building a pool of over 200,000 skilled workers worldwide. We'll break down how they did it, why compliance and trust were central to their success, and what this means for organizations aiming to scale smarter across borders. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's unpack this one. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really interesting case study. It's from the world of massive consulting and tech firms.
Right.
We're looking at Capgemini, a huge player, and how they tackled a pretty major challenge, managing this enormous and increasingly global contingent workforce.
And the specific strategy they went for was direct sourcing.
Exactly. And this whole dive, it's based on source material that really details their partnership with TalentNet.
Mm-hmm. It maps out their journey, the hurdles, what they faced, and how they built something pretty significant.
Absolutely. So our mission here is to really understand the core problem Capgemini needed to solve, the solution they actually deployed with TalentNet, and then how they navigated the really complex stuff like scaling globally.
Which is always tricky.
Always. I mean, you've got different country laws and, crucially, data privacy. Big one.
Huge.
And ultimately, we want to see the results, what they actually achieved in building these trusted talent communities, as they call them.
And why does this matter to you, the listener? Well, because it's basically a masterclass in how these large organizations, they don't just hire contractors, they build relationships.
Yeah, it's more strategic.
It really is. It shows how they use tech and smart thinking to manage talent efficiently across borders. And crucially, create these loyal pools of skilled workers they can tap into again and again.
It's a real peek behind the curtain at next level talent management.
Definitely.
So let's get into the challenge Capgemini was actually facing. The source paints them as a bit of a trailblazer, right? Someone who got into using contingent workers early on, especially in consulting and tech.
Right. So they already had this large group of contractors. But I mean, just imagine trying to keep tabs on the really good ones, the top performers, when that group is huge and spread all over the world.
Must have been chaotic.
Yeah, so their core problem was needing a much better system, something more efficient to manage, document, and importantly, monitor those high-performing contractors they knew were good.
Specifically so they could bring them back.
Exactly. So they could redeploy them for future projects easily.
And this wasn't just admin work, was it?
Yeah.
The source is pretty clear. Their goal was quite strategic. Creating these personalized talent pools filled with contractors they trusted, people they knew.
Mm-hmm. The whole idea was to empower their own people, hiring managers, talent curators, wherever they were, to quickly and easily find proven individuals they'd worked with before for new roles.
So less risk involved in hiring.
Precisely. Reducing that gamble on bringing in someone totally new when you have good people you already know.
And they started this strategically in the U.S. first.
That's right. The initial focus there was really about leveraging their strong brand name to attract that known talent directly.
Okay.
And building a better internal way to actually capture and then redeploy the contractors they already knew were reliable, making the most of what they had.
Which, well, that leads us straight to the solution, doesn't it? Direct sourcing and this partnership they formed with TalentNet.
Yeah, that kicked off in 2018, starting in the U.S., like you said.
And direct sourcing itself, just to clarify, that's basically when a company builds and manages its own talent pools directly.
Exactly. They often bypass the traditional agencies or intermediaries and use their own brand, their own reputation to attract people.
Gives them more control, presumably.
More control, yeah, and potentially better, more direct relationships with those contingent workers.
And that U.S. launch, it sounds like it went well. The source calls it a benchmark program.
It really did. The source points specifically to pretty impressive cost savings they achieved, but maybe even more importantly, a big jump in deploying contractors from those trusted pools they were building.
So it proved the concept.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That success, it clearly gave them the confidence to think bigger,
Yeah.
to think globally.
Which is the next big step, global expansion.
Guided by a dedicated executive team, Capgemini started taking this direct sourcing model outside the U.S.
Into different regions.
Right. And the main goal, it didn't really change. It was still about building these international sort of bespoke talent communities.
Filled with that trusted talent.
Yes, specifically filled with people who'd already proven themselves working with Capgemini before. The strategy was very focused. Identify those former high performers, re-engage them, and build these strong global communities with, properly vetted applicants too.
And the source seems quite deliberate in pointing out that, okay, cost savings were nice, maybe consolidating vendors was a bonus.
Right.
But the main thing, the primary driver, was identifying those past workers and cultivating these trusted pools for strategic redeployment.
Yeah, it's really framed as being about human capital strategy, not just pinching pennies.
Okay, and you mentioned this earlier, but this is where it gets really complex, right? Taking it global means dealing with data privacy and compliance.
Oh, absolutely. This is the really interesting bit, I think.
Because it's critical. The source really hammers home that having that deep expertise in data privacy was, well, non-negotiable. You couldn't do this global expansion without it.
No way. And they highlight TalentNet's role here, not just having a secure platform, which is obviously important.
Table stakes, really.
Kind of, yeah. But also their actual knowledge of all the unique country-specific privacy laws and their commitment to meeting really high compliance standards. Things like SOC2, ISO certifications.
And TalentNet didn't just advise, did they? The source says they actually led the charge in new countries.
That's what's fascinating. They really took ownership of setting up and operating the programs on the ground.
Wow.
Which meant, working super closely with local lawyers, getting translators involved for contracts and things, and actually dealing with the data privacy offices in each country.
So navigating things like GDPR in Europe, but also probably loads of other local procurement rules, governance stuff.
Exactly. Updating contracts, making sure everything ticked the boxes. It sounds like a massive undertaking, navigating that legal minefield across borders.
Definitely not straightforward.
And beyond all the tech and legal stuff, there was the people side, getting buy-in.
Ah, yes. Always important.
The source mentions it took significant effort to get everyone on board, corporate teams, local partners, empowering people in procurement, HR, the curation teams in each region to really champion the Capgemini brand and attract talent through these new direct channels.
So it required organizational change, too.
For sure.
Okay, so they navigated the tech build, the global legal maze, got the teams aligned. What were the results? What does the source say they actually achieved?
Well, first off, successful expansion. They rolled the program out into key markets: India, the UK, France, the Netherlands, Belgium.
So significant reach already.
Yeah, and the scale they've hit is pretty remarkable. They built up a global talent community with over 200,000 members in total.
200,000, that's a huge pool of potential talent they can now access directly.
It is. And drilling down into that number, the source highlights that over 17,000 of those are specifically identified as those trusted former workers.
Right, hitting that core strategic goal we talked about, bringing back the proven talent.
Exactly, directly addressing that objective.
And those initial wins from the U.S. benchmark, the cost savings, the higher deployment from trusted pools, did those carry through globally?
Yes, the source confirms those benefits scaled up. Continued cost savings, and crucially, that increased deployment rate from the trusted pools remained a key outcome.
So the model proved scalable and effective internationally.
It seems so.
Yeah.
And they're not stopping there. The source makes it quite clear Capgemini sees this as an ongoing expansion.
Oh, really? Where next?
They have definite plans for more regions, places like Poland, the Nordic countries, Italy, Denmark are mentioned, plus multiple other countries worldwide.
Wow. So this program is very much in growth mode. It's not just a pilot anymore. It's like core to their global talent strategy now.
It absolutely seems that way. It really shows the power of taking a focused strategy and just meticulously scaling it step by step, even when it involves significant complexity.
Okay, so let's sort of wrap up this deep dive then. What we've seen is Capgemini working strategically with TalentNet, using a really clear vision, successfully scaled its direct sourcing program across the globe. And this wasn't just about creating a big database. It was fundamentally focused on identifying and re-engaging those high-performing, trusted former workers.
Right. And the real significance, I think, is that This was way more than just implementing some new software.
Definitely.
It involved tackling incredibly complex global data privacy rules, making sure they were compliant in all these different legal systems, and getting that organizational alignment across countries to make the whole thing work at such an impressive scale.
It really underscores that today, even a strategy that seems focused purely on talent, like direct sourcing, needs this deep dive into legal, compliance, and operational complexities to actually succeed globally.
Absolutely. Which kind of leads to a final thought, doesn't it, for you, the listener?
Yeah.
As companies rely more and more on flexible contingent workforces, which seems to be the trend, what does this Capgemini story tell us about the strategic value of actively building those direct, trusted relationships with your past talent?
That seems increasingly important.
And maybe just as vital, given all the hurdles they faced, how absolutely critical are robust data privacy practices and just meticulous compliance to making any large-scale global talent strategy actually feasible, sustainable, and, trustworthy in today's world.
That's a wrap on this episode of Sourced and Delivered. Capgemini's story is a powerful example of what's possible when global expansion meets local precision, where trusted talent communities are built not just for speed and savings, but for long-term value and operational integrity. With over 200,000 candidates in their talent ecosystem, including 17,000 proven former workers, they've created a strategic engine for contingent hiring. And by embedding compliance from day one, they've ensured it scales sustainably across borders and business units. For any organization thinking about growing its contingent strategy internationally, this episode proves that trust, data privacy, and strategic re-engagement aren't side notes. They're core to success. If you want to learn more, check out the episode notes for links and resources. And if you found this valuable, follow or subscribe and leave us a quick review. It helps more talent pros find strategies that actually work. Thanks again for listening to Sourced and Delivered, presented by TalentNet. Until next time, keep sourcing smart and delivering results.